Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Hey guys, so just finished watching Arrow Season 5, Episode 23, Lian Yu. Whoa, what an episode. So, I really don't know what to say. I mean, the ending on this episode was perfect. It was great. I definitely can't wait to see how things happen in episode 1 of season 6, which is going to be interesting because Oliver did tweet out. Stephen Amell did tweet out that he said a while back that if we ever made it to season 6, he would start it off with the goatee and stuff like that. So I'll be putting that as the icon for this video. So definitely gonna tweet that out to him, reminding him that he needs to wear the actual goatee, not just the full beard goatee that he had in Legends, but an actual goatee. So getting to this episode, it was quite cool seeing the Slade Wilson storylines and all that stuff, and how he was switching back and forth, although I never really felt that he was actually turning against Oliver and stuff like that. And then it was cool seeing Dinah Drake versus Black Siren, although when their screams hit each other, it didn't have a big enough effect. Yes, it launched the two of them far and stuff, but it didn't take the roof off of the building that they were in. Even though it's a stone building, I wanted to see take off the roof of the building. I'd love to see actually the entire building be gone once, especially when they're hitting. I mean, we saw Black Siren take down buildings over on the Flash, so why didn't, when their two of them are hitting their sonic blasts hit each other, why didn't it destroy the entire building, especially since Dinah Drake's was even amplified? You could say that maybe Black Siren's was even amplified even more, is probably more powerful, but with Curtis's tech on Dinah's, definitely should have taken off the whole building. So that's what I really want to see, is more power behind both of their screams and stuff, especially when they're hitting like that. But it was cool seeing Captain Lance, kind of taking Black Siren out, which was interesting because Black Siren is supposed to be set to be a recurring character for season 6. Katie Cassidy signed back on for season 6, so it's gonna be fun to see that. But I didn't see Black Siren leave the island unless she has a secret bunker that they know where to hide out or something like that, which is gonna be interesting to see how she survives going into season 6, yet all the other team, the whole team Arrow, doesn't survive in Slade Wilson. But even though they were probably on total different ends of the island, I feel like Team Arrow was on one end and Black Siren was on the complete other end, or she could have been, not sure where they left her, unless Captain Lance left her right where he knocked her out, still in that building. But I think it's going to be interesting to see how they do it. I mean, you have Malcolm Merlyn dying from one of the explosions. Now, I feel like we just saw an explosion from afar away, so I feel like he could be alive a little bit. But I don't understand how they're going to do is, how can they have Malcolm Merlyn die from one explosion, yet have the Arrow team survive hundreds of explosions all over the island? Now maybe it's yes, that landmine wasn't Adrian Chase's, so maybe it's not as powerful as one of the things, but still, it doesn't make sense how all these bombs all over the Lian Yu, how they can avoid all those, and then Malcolm dies from one explosion, so it's gonna be interesting to see that. Hopefully, I'd like to see them maybe actually having all the whole team, all of Arrow, gone and not survive this, because I think it'd be quite silly for them to just jump into season 6, episode 1, and everyone's alive, and here's how they survived everything. Here's how they got out. They all jumped into the water and dove into the ocean, and there they go, they're alive. I think it would make it it would lessen this episode if they did that or something like that. So I don't know. I'd like to see them maybe, if they're not all dead, cripple them all. Have them all be crippled in a wheelchair or something like that, and they're really, maybe have someone, one of them at least has to be dead, because I feel like, especially where they were right next to the airplane, you'd think that Adrian Chase would load the airplane up with so much explosives to really use the airplane as pieces, as shrapnel to go flying, so that if the explosion doesn't kill them, the shrapnel from the explosion will kill them and stuff like that. So I think that's going to be interesting to see how they do with that. It's also going to be interesting to see how they play this on Arrow and Flash, with whatever happens on Flash feels like very much the opposite of what's going on here. So I think that's quite interesting how they're doing that. And also I'd like to see Oliver go over to Flash to try and find Barry, to have him go back in time to save his friends, but finding out that Barry's not there and then trying to get Wally West to go back in time to reset that. I think that would be a really cool scene, seeing Oliver yelling at Wally West for that. I think that would be cool if we did that. But I don't think, unless they kept the whole Arrow team dead unless the Arrow team is still dead by the time we get to the crossover, I don't think we would get an episode like that. But it would be cool to try that. Or maybe he texts Barry, is Barry around? Or he calls, is Barry around? And Cisco answers, goes, Barry's gone. Or Iris answers, Barry's gone. And just, or someone answers and, something like that. That would be a cool phone call to see. But it's going to be fun to see how things go with this. Like I said, it's going to be interesting to see if they survive this. I kind of hope they don't. I hope they do at the same time, because they're not going to kill the entire team. I mean, the only person left from Arrow is actually Lila and Diggle Jr. and stuff. So that's going to be cool to see their reaction to all this, and also Oliver and his son. So that would be interesting to see where things go with this and how things continue on. And also, I guess there's also Sarah. She's an Arrow original. She's alive over on Legends, but she's not even in this timeline or wherever. She's somewhere outside of the timeline, outside of this. She's still on this Earth, whatever. She's outside of the timeline with the end of Legends. But so yeah, this was a fun episode. It's a cool thing. It's cool seeing Nyssa versus Talia and all that stuff. Yeah, it was really a fun episode. Just can't wait to see how things figure things out, how they get out of this situation. But I really hope they don't take this back. Like, if you're watching this on Netflix or whatever, and you go from 523 to 601, and then they're survived or alive right away, and it's just like, well, it would just lessen this episode. So whatever they do in that 601, I just don't want it to take away from this episode and make this episode lesser by having them, they all jumped jumped off the island and they were not on the island type thing, and they all survived or something like that. I'd love to see some actual consequences coming out of this, completely changing the entire show. Just like, spoilers, I guess, for Flash, by not having Barry Allen in there, they could completely change it over and have Wally West be the main character for Flash. So I think it'd be cool to do this on Arrow and have it go back to just Arrow and single it down to just Arrow is left. I think it would be a cool thing to have for a full season, is just Oliver, Lila, and Oliver's son and stuff. So I think that would be interesting. Also to see Lila finding out that Oliver chose his son over all of his other friends and her husband and stuff like that. So that's going to be fun to see that relationship or that fight whenever they come back. So yeah, it's going to be quite interesting to see. And I can also see Argus is probably going to be going over there to just scour the whole island and stuff, which got me wondering, how did he get all these explosions there? It seems like it must have taken a long time to set these all up. And if it took him like months and months or a year to plant all these explosives, how would he have done it without alerting Felicity? Like, if there's a big planes and ships going back and forth, I don't know. It just seems very weird that he, and within a week he got all these explosions there and set them all up perfectly. It seems like it would have taken a few months before all of this to set this up, but whatever, maybe I'm looking too much into it. So definitely was a fun episode, and I can't wait to see what happens in season 6. Also, I really hoping we'll be tweeting at Stephen Amell to get the actual goatee and stuff. So hopefully, fingers crossed, he will do that. Yeah, let me know what you think, guys, about this episode in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
You're still here.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Peace.
It's over.